I think it's safe to say that the Russell T Davies 2 Disney Doctor Who era didn't go quite the way that Russell planned it to or hoped it would go. Same with us viewers. We all thought it would go a completely different way to the way it went. Some of us really enjoyed it. I actually really enjoyed RTD2. It wasn't what I was expecting, but I enjoyed it for what it was. There are some people who are on the opposite end and genuinely want people to die because of the TV show that was made, which is silly. However, we can all unanimously agree that the era went wrong. It didn't go as planned and didn't translate to the screen as well as we'd have all hoped. But the big question being asked on Reddit is this. What was the moment that you realised that something wasn't working with the Disney era? Now this is a brilliant question. This is a question that I've not actually heard anybody ask, right? But it is true. There are signs from very early on that things might be a bit rocky with this era. Number one being the Star Beast. I love the Star Beast. I also don't have a problem with that big pronouns scene. But it didn't help the show. Because that scene was immediately filling up the ammunition of all the hate speech people online to shoot at Doctor Who. That is the wokest it got, right? The wokest it got was that discussion of pronouns in the first episode nearly 3 years ago. It didn't get woker than that, right? But because people tuned in for that episode because David Tennant was in it, saw the pronouns chat, they immediately just assume the whole era is going to be like that and then shoot at everybody. They shoot at the show. They're like, oh, the show's woke because of this pronoun scene. Blah, blah, blah. But that's not what the show is. That's not what the show is. And I'm not saying we shouldn't have those scenes. Like I say, I enjoy the scene and I do think it could have been done better. I've said this before. I think if like Sylvia said the line like about the pronouns, because it's evident she's trying to understand Rose being trans, but is struggling with it. So having Sylvia say something like that would make a lot of sense. Having the Doctor say it wasn't great. But it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. I think it just gave off the wrong impression to the wrong type of people. And I know we should be saying, well, those type of people, we don't want them anyway if they're going to hate on it. But I'm talking about fans who stopped watching with Capaldi and then saw the pronoun clip online and went, oh, show woke. And then they call it woke for the next 3 years. Until now, present day, I reckon 90% of the reason, 70% of the reason why the show is called woke to this day is because of that scene. And like I say, it's hard. I don't have an answer. We should keep that scene. That scene is important. However, it is a large reason why the show was under fire from the beginning. Then we get to the Christmas special, which is the first special outside. I mean, the bi-generation thing was a bit weird. People were like, oh, they got to creep in bisexuals and bi things. Why can't we just call it like double regeneration? Because that sounds like double penetration, right? That sounds weird. Anyway, we then get the Christmas special with Ncuti Gatwa, which I enjoy as a good episode. The thing that went wrong here was Space Babies was meant to air the week after The Church on Ruby Road. It didn't do this. There were production failures, I guess, that made it be pushed back to May. Which means that episode 1 that was landing on people's Disney Plus and BBC iPlayers was Space Babies. They didn't put The Church on Ruby Road as episode 1, which it is. They put it as special 4. So people were like, the specials, I'll skip them because I don't know David Tennant. So new viewers are like, I'll skip that, I'll jump straight in. And they jump straight into Space Babies, which is a good episode. Space Babies isn't bad. I don't know why people think it's so crap. I think it's fun. It's fun. It's funny. It's a classic Russell T Davies episode 2 or 3 episode. It doesn't work as an episode 1. Now, again, people blame Russell for this. Oh, we went from having Rose to Space Babies. What the frick? No. You went from having Rose to The Church on Ruby Road, which I'd argue isn't that much of a difference. I mean, Rose is probably better, but The Church on Ruby Road isn't bad at all. And if you think it is, maybe give it another watch because it actually is really, really good at introducing what it needs to introduce. There's enough mystery there for the character of the Doctor and the overarching series of the show. But that was probably when I realised that the show was on the brink of not going the way it was supposed to. And I thought, this is not going to work with Space Babies as episode 1. I started this channel just before season 1 started, and I remember when the title reveals dropped, finding out the first episode was going to be about Space Babies and a bogeyman, I thought, ooh, that doesn't sound very episode 1-y. It's because it's not. It's because The Church of Ruby Road is episode 1. It was meant to air afterwards. It's very annoying. It was meant to be the big winter of Doctor Who, because you'd have had the 8 episode series alongside the Christmas special and the 360th specials, which would take you to 12 episodes, which is how long a series used to be. Not anymore. You get 8 episodes now. Probably less going forward. We'll probably get 6, which yippee frickin' do. But yeah, that was the first initial me thing of like, the show's a bit bad. But then we got stuff like Boom and 73 Yards and Dot and Bubble, and I really like Rogue personally as one of my highlights. And I was like, this is really good. The Legend of Ruby Sunday, I was like, this is really good. Okay, the first 2 episodes were probably the worst of the whole series. Then we got to the first part, the 2-part finale, and I was like, this is bloody awesome. And then we got the actual finale. And I thought, right, okay. But then again, it's not too dissimilar. I was a big Empire of Death defender because it's not too dissimilar from RTD1 finales. I would rather watch Empire of Death than The Last of the Time Lords. Utopia and The Sound of Drums are good, but the actual final episode, I would rather watch that than maybe even Journey's End. I'm not even joking when I say that. Genuinely, Journey's End just winds me up because of the Deus Ex Machina ending, which a lot of Russell T Davies' earlier stuff did. And I don't think many of the Disney stuff actually had Deus Ex Machinas, did it? I suppose you could count the whistle in Empire of Death, but yeah, but then that was explained in a deleted scene, so I don't know, it's hard to explain. But anyway, look, forget that, forget what I've just said. Right, don't come at me in the comments and be like, what, you'd rather watch Empire of Death than bloody Saxon? Yeah, maybe, probably not, I don't know. I just say things sometimes and hope I can find a reason afterwards. Yeah, look, my point is, Empire of Death, on paper, isn't that bad. At the time, was very bad, very damaging for the show. So that was probably the first time I was like, people don't like this. So, yeah, that's my answer. Anyway, should we see what the comments are saying? The Christmas episode had me concerned. Space Babies confirmed that Disney thing was not working for me. Yeah, I think a lot of people are going to say Space Babies here, aren't they? I actually like the Goblin song, but that was absolutely the only part of the episode that I liked because the Doctor does not do goblins. And he does not speak rope. Yeah, that was weird. Speaking rope. Forgot that was a thing. It's one of the absolute worst episodes. Are they talking about the Christmas special here? Yeah, or Space Babies. Can't remember. Don't know. The Legend of Ruby Sunday. The Susan non-reveal was very bad and clunky, and bringing back Sutek just felt wrong somehow. After a season that felt fresh for the most part, having a finale that hinged on having watched Pirates of Mars, a strong signal the production team didn't quite have a grasp of which viewers to... Right, I disagree with this massively. The Sutek reveal is for us long-term fans who know who Sutek is. The God of Death reveal is for the new viewers. I've said this for a while. Russell, everyone's like, you can bring back old viewers, but you've got to recontextualize them. And this show doesn't do that. That's what the gods are. You don't need to know Sutek is big, bad, dust man. You just need to know he's the God of Death. And that worked on my mum. She was like, I don't know who Sutek is, and I'm a bit annoyed I don't know who he is, but hey ho, he's the God of Death, let's see what happens. And he looks cool. He was a big CGI monster, which people had a problem with, but Sutek looked bloody cool as a dog. I think he did. So, yeah, I would say, I think The Legend of Ruby Sunday is a good episode, and it built a lot of the hype that was needed. So I disagree with that, but I also disagree with the fact that you needed to know who Sutek was to watch the finale, when I don't think that's true at all, because you had the God of Death thing in front of you. You met a god before, you met Maestro, you met the Toy Maker, and this is one where the Doctor's even more scared than the Toy Maker, so that should have enough for us to be like, oh my goodness. But yeah, I don't know. I think this will all get softened in a few years when we get a new showrunner in, and everyone's like, oh my god, bring back Russell T Davies, this new showrunner's so bad. People will be like, actually, Empire of Death wasn't that bad. It weren't great, I'm not, listen, it's not a good episode, but it's not as bad as people make it out to be. Same with the Reality War. IMO. But yeah, there you go. That's that. So let me know in the comments, when do you think that the show started to fail for the Disney era? When do you think there was like the turning point for you where you were like, oh, this isn't going to be as big as I thought it was? Let me know in the comments, please. Whilst you're down in the comments, if you're on mobile, please do press the hype button. It pushes my video out to way more people. It mean the absolute world if you could do that. If you enjoyed the video, drop a like. If you didn't, drop a dislike. It's absolutely fine. You don't have to like things all the time. Dislikes there if you want to use it. Buttons there. Subscribe if you are new and you like what you see. Hit the notification bell. I post every single day, and if you hit the bell, you get notified every single time a video of mine goes out live. Not live, but out to view. If you want to help me out money wise, you can leave a super thanks in the comments for a couple of quid. You get a shout out at the end of the next video, or you can become a channel member. You get early access to videos, and you get member only Q&A coming soon, and you get a shout out at the end of every video. So do that if you please. There's 3 separate tiers, and if you're into it, read into it. Mainly it just helps me out, so it'd mean the world if you could do that. But if not, that's fine. You can just stick around if you want to. I'd love to have you stay, or you can go away if you don't like me. You think I'm jarring and you can never come back. That's fine. But I'd love to have you here. You seem like fun. Thank you for watching. Have a great rest of your day. I've been Sam. I'll see you later, and ta-ra.